Hey guys, this is Dave. It's Surface Geeks number 32, recorded on July the 17th, 2013. Welcome back to the Surface Geeks podcast. Tonight, I'm all amped up because I have something to rant about. And no, it's not Darren Cohen's Google issues. How you doing tonight, Darren?
I'm doing good. What Google issues? And this is fun. I'm on my second laptop trying to get the show going tonight, and I hear you
I,
perfectly right now, but you're about 4 seconds off from your mouth to what's coming out, so it's really fun.
well, that's fine. I'm mouthing you, so you think I'm going to be talking after that. But hey, Google does that to us. It's happened before. It will happen again. We are very close on our quest to finally have a podcasting setup, a studio to move to Skype and to do some things by Skype and publishing YouTubes on our own. You know, I used Google for the sole purpose that it automatically published my YouTube. But now I'm using so many cameras here in the home server show Surface Geek Studio that I like to have gear cams and stuff, and YouTube doesn't capture that. And we used to pick up a couple of watchers from YouTube on the YouTube Hangouts page, which was great. You know, it's a marketing thing. I capture a couple of people. That's great. But I think that we're gonna make that transition. And another thing that I have to do is, I talked about this on my last podcast, is I've got my PC, my Windows 7 PC has completely been taken over by video production. And I shouldn't have done it that way, but at that time I didn't know if I was going to do it, but it's the most powerful PC I have, a big Core i7 workhorse, and I need that for, you know, processing and whatnot, and it's my local PC. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But when I do, you'll be the first to know. But again, episode 32, I've got a lot of stuff for you. I do have something to rant about.
Can't we
And
just use the Iconia W3 as the production machine?
I tried. We're going to talk about the Iconia W3, which I have here in my hands. I think I'm the only reviewer on the face of the planet that had anything positive to say about this poor little tablet, and I will tell you the reasons for that in this podcast. But if you want me to just slam it real quick, in my last podcast, okay, it's x86 processor. I joined it to Google Plus, and I joined it to a Hangout, and I had it sitting in the keyboard, and I was going to show the guys over at Home Server Show, and I picked it up, and it burned my hand. It was so hot. The poor little thing. I don't even know if it
What
worked.
processor's in there? That's an
Some
Atom.
Atom thing.
Atom, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, go to surfacegeeks.net, and there's a review out there.
To be
Some
fair,
guy,
though,
some guy we know wrote it.
yeah. To be fair, I just was saying with the other laptop, Google has just been these Chrome. I know we get into a quick rant. Firefox we used to love, then started getting bloated and bloated and bloated, and no one wanted IE at that point. Google came out with Chrome, and we all switched to it because it was light and it was fast. Now Chrome is the big, overly blown thing on our machine where we're having processes, things that are notification bar. I was just on a Core 2 Duo with 8 gigs of RAM, and it was at 100% processor. That's why I had to switch laptops. You know,
It's the
there's an
evolution
i7,
of the browser. It always happens. It
but I think
always
that,
happens.
I think their answer is they just, we're all you need to run. You can shut
Exactly.
everything else off and just run Chrome.
It's all those packets that were sent into the NSA, Darren. They just had to see my podcasting rig. They
No,
really wanted to
that's
see the
Microsoft.
studio.
Microsoft's the one sending everything to the NSA. Didn't you hear?
Oh yeah, that's true. We'll talk about that. Hold it. Slow down. Slow down. But hey Darren, we were talking a little bit. You and I, have you gotten rid of that dadgum Google phone?
I,
Are you
uh,
back to your 920?
I'm using the 920 95% of the time.
Okay, because we used to have a little chat room in our
Yeah,
handy
it
dandy
won't let me.
trusty Windows phones.
It won't. It won't. It still says one member waiting to sync.
Is that me?
I see it as me as the one member and waiting for you. You probably see it the opposite way. We might have
All
to
right. How
just
about we
set that up
just
again.
wait? Why don't we
Well, I don't have it in
just
front of me,
ditch
so we'll
that
do that
room?
later. Okay, we'll
We'll
start a new one.
delete that room. We'll start it again so we can
Uh-huh.
talk about it on a future podcast. It's the coolest thing ever. Coolest thing ever. We'll get that. But no, we were talking earlier, and we were trying to do it via our little room on a Windows Phone. That we've been real news heavy on this podcast, and I was traveling to Chicago this past weekend, and I listened to all my shows, right, all these podcasts, and I gave Surface Geeks a little listen, and I was like, wow, we're so news heavy, and we need to get back to our roots and get back to hardware, and talking apps, and the things that you guys listening to are in every day and you want to know about. So we're going to try to bring it back around. Now we can't do that every week because that would mean either somebody's got to be sending us gear or we're having to buy gear.
Or we
So
have to make up stories about gear because that's not new stuff
exactly.
every week.
I can hold a piece of like a printed out. This is the new Vizio 10-inch. But no. But again, that begs the question of you, the listener. If you're a tech guy and you want to get involved with this, you want to get involved with SurfaceGeeks.net and the forums and maybe writing and reviewing. You're buying the gear. Why don't you tell us about it? And maybe we can get you on the podcast and we can be more gear centric. We're going to try to whip through some news and the news of the day, and it seems like there's a lot of it lately. So, I mean, we absolutely have to cover some of it and give you our opinions. But again, we're going to try to get back to our roots. I'm kind of a hardware guy, and that's what we're going to try to do. So this week will be easy because I've got it sitting right here. So very, very easy. We'll talk about the meetup at the end of the show. Let's jump in. Well, let's just jump into some news real quick, Darren.
All right,
What was like?
I was just
Top
reading.
it off for me.
We're starting with news. We're not starting with W3. You're just screwing me all up here.
Okay, good. Just pick your top item because I have a rant.
All right. Well, I'm going to
I'm
start
all
really
amped
quickly.
up.
If we're starting with rants, I had a little thing on Twitter yesterday with a certain editor of a certain major tech news site, called, maybe called The Verge or something.
Oh, come on, throw it out there. They're not going to be listening.
Nah, that's true.
Too busy.
I'm sitting there just, good morning, drinking my coffee. I see this tweet headline go past me. Will the NSA use Xbox One to spy on your family?
Hey.
And the first thing I tweeted was, retweeted that with the thing before it, what a BS, headline, whatever. And then I actually responded as the editor, Neil Patel, retweeted the headline. I tweeted at him that this was kind of crap. And he's tried to defend it. He's like, well, you didn't read the whole story. I said, I read the whole story. I was complaining about the headline. And first of all, this week, there's stories out there that Microsoft has let the NSA in for everything. The same story we've heard the last month for Google and everyone else, but those were let go. Microsoft's the big evil company letting the NSA. Microsoft came out with the same response that every other tech company said we follow the law. If someone gives us a warrant for information, we will supply that. Otherwise, we do not give out encryption keys. That was one of the stories, that Microsoft actually gives the encryption, which, by the way, is a little problem because Outlook.com and Office 365 don't use email encryption, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But anyway, that they're giving the keys to the government. Microsoft gave the same answer everyone else did. And that's an issue if people want to talk about the Prism and all that. I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to use the podcast to say it. I've forgotten that Google and Facebook, they're all indicted with they're all in the same leaked PowerPoint. Microsoft now has been a big evil thing. The Xbox One is the big NSA scary machine, and it's just more of the same rhetoric, nothing behind it. And it's getting to the point now where it's dangerous. It's starting to reach the mainstream media as, people trust these sites, so they must be saying what's going on. The Xbox One, first of all, it's doing the same thing Google Chrome's going to do, which is it listens for keywords before it activates. It's not sitting there recording every word you say and sending it back to some server somewhere. I mean, people at The Verge are smart enough to know no company is doing that. Google is supposedly releasing some phone, the Moto X, next week. always listening. It's not actually listening and recording. It's listening. There's a big difference. It's like having a camera on without a tape in it. It's waiting for a keyword that activates, and it has that little library probably in the device. But it's just dangerous to have these. I don't want to say dangerous. It's something in the business sense. I don't know if it's investors, and there was something at TechCrunch going, and today with Alexia Sosis, the editor-in-chief of TechCrunch, saying VCs need to create more news sites, which is like exactly the opposite of what we need. They're protecting their own interests, protecting their own stock. To the point, I don't know if they just hate Microsoft in the days when they started reporting Microsoft wouldn't give information when Apple was willing to, or something, but it's gotten to the point of just absurdity. I don't know what you think, but I don't know if you saw the little back and forth. And a couple people, other reporters sent me direct messages saying they didn't want to start something, but thanks for saying it. Just unbelievable. I mean, just blatant to the point of, I mean, they're journalists, so they're pretty protected. But if a regular person just went out and said that, Microsoft could probably sue for libel. I mean, just and the headlines never match the article. If you read the article, it mentions all tech, but not the headline. I don't know if you saw the back and forth and your thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it. I was taken back. I was like, well, this is the nail in their hating coffin is because we have always had a kind of a in the back of our minds, and they always deny it, but they have some real beef against Microsoft, and I think this headline wasn't. I think it was just one of those typical headline writers. This is
Right.
is going to grab attention. So.
And I think that's what that site's become. But but they have so much money behind them. They're becoming the go-to site for other places. And like I said, the other editor, Joshua Topolsky's on Jimmy Fallon twice a month now, at least once a month, showing off gadgets. I mean, this is not, and I'm nothing against him personally. You have to wonder what is going on. And Microsoft, I mean, they've given them every device to review, knowing what's going to come out. They've let them into everything. It's not like they're not putting them on blacklists. Obviously, they have everything before. They have the leaks for anyone else does, even with the Microsoft stuff. And Tom Warren on his articles does a good job, and I know people respect him as a writer, and he does the Microsoft beat, and he does a good job with it. But when the other people from outside the beat come in, it's just something is just off. And it's funny, this week, one of the people that's been fairly fair, I would say, when discussing, the whole genre of mobile and where we are now with Windows 8 and all these other, is Tim Stevens over at Engadget, or I should say, used to be over, I don't know if you saw that yesterday,
right.
Over at Engadget.
Previously employed Tim Stevens.
I mean, after he put a tweet out there, I can't get into my email, then they put a nice he resigned, little goodbye, thanks for the years thing, but obviously it didn't look like that. And TechCrunch, which is also owned by the same company as Engadget, broke the news story, which is always fun. And he was one of the more likable, not just likable, but you didn't feel like he was coming with a bias. If he didn't like something, he just didn't like it. Like I didn't like some things with 8.1. I said it wasn't because Google told me to say that. So you're starting to see this, the people who kind of are even keeled and tech media, maybe just catching up to the rest of the media, because that's what our news is like now. Both sides, you get to be the most outlandish and say the dumbest crap, and that's how you get on TV, and that's what gets publicized. So maybe tech's just catching up.
Yeah, someone in chat saying they are the TMZ of the internet, and
TMZ, come on, they break good stories. I mean,
no, they do.
You have to know what color underwear some actress is wearing at the diner at 6 in the morning.
Well, tech TMZ, he means, not like, yeah. But
right.
I don't know. Their editor-in-chief, he's just a strange bird, let me tell you. And he gets more brazen and more brazen on his podcast every week in and week out. And I have difficulty listening to it. This last week, they were talking about anatomy and swinging it and hitting people in the face with it, and it's just disgusting. And it always goes towards that angle with this one person, and
right.
it's I'm bothered by it. But
and he's also tried to be always trying to be contrarian. He was on a lot of shows around the SOPA discussion when that was going on in Congress last year because he's a lawyer. You know, I guess that makes you. I
Well,
guess every
that's
lawyer.
Neeli. He's a lawyer.
Right. Neil, that's why I had the thing with that made him an expert, I guess, in all congressional patent law. Uh, he was like the contrarian. So we need something. It's not like on all the tech shows. I There's just something odd going on, and all the shows are always a little strange. They do these shows, and from you were at CES, they have that big trailer set up, and they're doing these live shows. And listen, all the money behind them, they're so just blatantly bad, and they have it's not they're not even well produced. I mean, their new little studio's nice, but they're just something's just weird. It's like, are they being? I don't know.
Well, I mean, no, they got the money behind them, and
Well, we know that.
and and I know they've got the listenership and they've got the viewership, and that's why the companies want to go with them, and that's why the gear goes to them first. They leaked or announced Microsoft announcements before anybody else, and I I remember the days where I used to get information from Microsoft in the home server world. We would have information. We were on NDA. We couldn't pre-announce it, and we had to wait for a certain time, and obviously either a time or Microsoft releasing it. And I always towed the line. I did it like I was supposed to do it. And these guys, to me, what my dad or my grandfather would say, I think they're getting a little big for their britches. And
Right.
as long as they have viewership and listenership, as long as you're listening, as long as you're downloading and viewing, it's going to continue down this path. And until a company like the Microsofts and the Apples and whatnot say that maybe we don't need these guys reporting for us. We don't have to spoon feed them material and leaks, and because that happens a lot.
And
You're giving information. You
these places
get
have all gotten
information.
so big. Last year there was I don't even know what story it was, but all things released the story. It might have been Apple, Google. I don't remember who it was. That doesn't matter. Said we have a source close that says X, Y, and Z is happening next week. Turns out the source close is the other All Things D reporter under NDA. So there's no just, and that stuff I don't care about. NDAs, listen, that's a journalist thing. That's these companies' thing. I think they're awful. Just release the information.
Well, that technically is breaking. I mean, that's breaking the NDA.
Of course, and that was a big
the individual who he works for. They just broke their NDA, and
right.
Until someone makes them pay for that, by like, what was the thing on the iPhone 4?
Oh, the Gizmodo.
Yeah, Gizmodo paid $5,000. They just blackballed him. You're blacklisted.
And the police broke into his house.
Well, I don't know if all that was right, but
well, no, definitely wasn't.
No, they just said, that's it. You're on the list.
Right.
You bring a laptop and you try to record a session, a keynote at Apple, you're going to get blacklisted, like Mr. Leo Laporte. You make them mad, you get blacklisted.
But now but Apple has that power in cloud to do it. I don't think Microsoft, which is amazing. Microsoft is bigger than all these other companies we're talking about. When it comes to market share, when it comes to profits, when it comes everything, user base, by every measurable statistic there is, they are still the behemoth in the tech industry. Yep. Even people who use Google, most people go into Google from a Windows machine. Forget, people, Windows Phone. Windows Phone is a drop in the bucket. Xbox is a drop in the bucket. Office 365, we're starting to see these numbers in Azure. But Windows, they're all using Windows. It's close to 90% of a multi-billion-dollar install base is Windows. And they're treated like, they're the local hardware store in a town of Walmarts.
Yeah, just looked over.
The little engine that could.
The
It's
little
just
guys
the little
just
guys.
wasted it in the end.
It
All
just
right, so
it's just funny. The way their stories are reported is just it's crazy. It's getting to the point. It's absurd. And I know we've talked about this so many times, but I feel like every time there's a okay, that's crazy. It just gets crazier.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a boycott. It's just if you don't like a product, you don't buy it, right?
Right.
If you
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
like that brand of toothpaste, it tastes bad. Well, stop buying it. Stop
I
sticking it in your mouth.
I laugh. Ed Bot does it a lot. He'll call out a reporter but won't put the link in this thing because he doesn't want
Yeah.
to get clicks.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's right either if you can talk about things. But anyway, uh,
Let's move on.
let's. So
Um,
I
that's the Darren rant.
in
I
the
knew it'd
middle of
be
the rant,
something.
I pointed out that Microsoft gave the same standard answer about the NSA spying as every other tech company did, saying we respond to requests by law enforcement. We don't just hand over everyone's data. And I know some of the tech genre like to think that the government's taking everything, but it seems plausible considering we watched them pass laws that said, hey, we can have a secret court that goes and asks them for the stuff that they would ask for the stuff. So anyway, that's the that. Now, look at your wrist. You wear a watch?
Nope, I haven't since the days of pagers, where we had text pagers.
Wow. Or is that from
90s.
okay, in the 90s? Okay.
I
Would you
dropped it.
wear are you would you wear a smartwatch?
Does that count the little Casio calculator watch?
I no, no, not the one in second grade that used to cheat on the test.
Oh
We,
man, okay.
now,
I might wear that again.
there was a picture of Bill Gates and some other guys wearing a version of some kind of Surface watch. Rumors out there. We know Apple's probably working on one. We have what's the one, the big Kickstarter found Best Buy, that the
The
uh,
Pebble.
the Pebble, which actually looks
Pebble.
pretty. Now I'm actually interested in these devices. Are you?
Um, see, I have I have to be careful
Okay.
because on my other podcast, I there's a famous quote. It says, "I don't need no stinking iPad." And then a couple of months later, after the iPad launch, I went into the store and I experienced
A
the
lot of people
device.
said
I was
that.
like, "Oh, this is cool as hell."
Well, do you remember when that was launched? All the media during the launch were like, oh, no one's going to buy this piece of crap. Too
Yeah,
expensive to this. Every person who got to play with it at the launch said everyone's going to want one.
yeah, everyone's gonna want one. Exactly. So it's hard for me to say. I don't necessarily want a watch, but if it did some mind-numbingly cool, geeky tech thing, perhaps.
Okay.
Maybe if it. I've always wanted to do the health stuff, right? The
Right, right.
steps, heart rate, and give
Well,
me
I think
some
that would,
barometric pressure, altimeter. You give me some cool stuff.
Tim, what
Maybe,
do you want, a pilot's watch?
maybe I would.
But here, a few weeks ago, I was playing tennis, and I had my phone sitting in the tennis bag, in the bracket bag. And I kept going in every few games to check the phone. And I said to myself, you know what? If I had a watch that was connected to that phone, it would be perfect. It would tell me if I got a phone call, if I had an email I had to respond to, text message. We're living in a world, sometimes you have to respond. To me, that's the key. The health stuff I think is going to be built in. I think there are already so many things, like that's a given.
Yeah.
But as a notification thing, walk around New York City sometimes and everyone has their head in their phone, you're banging into everybody. If it's just on your wrist, it just makes sense. And I'm not for the Google Glass. I think that's going to another level of ridiculousness. But a watch kind of, just look at your wrist. Got a buzz? Oh, that's Dave. I can respond later. It's just.
That's Dave. Yeah.
I think there's a place for this. You don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket to check every little buzz.
It's got to be, man. You got to bring more than that. It's
So that's
not.
all I
It's not
need. That's
doing it.
all I want. I don't want the crazy flashing things. Just a nice e-ink notification sensor, little machine.
mean, you're talking a little bitty screen. It's
It
got a.
just has
You
to
got.
say the name and
I
maybe a
just
touch
paid
sensor.
$500 for this daggone phone. I'm pulling it out of my pocket.
But there's some points, you might not want to pull it out of your pocket. If you're in the pool on a raft, you don't want to bring the phone in, but you can look at your wrist.
Maybe. It's gonna be waterproof. It's got to be waterproof.
Well, I'm sure there's already the Samsung's new S4 Active. I'm sure there'll be some waterproof version.
All right.
Like a
So
diver's watch. How about a diver's watch that's attached to the phone? Would you go with that?
there you go. Depth.
Anyway, so there is a rumor at The Verge, so it must be true.
Must be true. They love Microsoft. You know
Um,
what it would take is if for Tom Warren to go somewhere else. If he would like
he's their in,
admit that, hey, this is a shady operation, I'm gonna go write for Surface Geeks.
right? Because that's going to pay him well.
Yeah, we're gonna create our own magazine.
We have the next SB Nation behind us, or whatever. Vox Media, right, owns both of them.
Yeah.
Vox, right? Okay. Anyway, so the Surface Watch, something to watch for. We know Apple's working on one. I'm sure Google's working on one. You have the Pebble and all this other stuff. I think there's a market for it, and like I said, I think, especially in certain circumstances,
Is it gonna be modern UI? Have to swipe back and
is it gonna be flat?
You know, I think all you guys are going to be fairly surprised when Apple schedules a press conference in the coming months and reveals their new TV initiative and calls it iWatch, as in I watch cable TV on my TV, and all these guys with these things on their wrists are gonna kind of take them off, put them in their pocket, and go, "Oh crap, we fell for that, didn't we?"
That's that was pretty good. But no one believed. Remember, no one believed that Apple would call the iPad the iPad.
True.
So who knows? How much is your Surface RT worth to you?
A lot less now.
How much now? All right, so now the story: Surface RT is now $349 with no keyboard, $449 with the touch keyboard, $150 off. I guess that would be. Now,
Yeah.
some say this is a price drop to clear the inventory. Heard a couple stories say this is just the new price of the Surface, even when it's comes out again.
Think Surface 2 is going to come out at this price?
A couple people said that, and I hope it does. I think that would make the most sense. And I compared it to the original iPhone launch and had another fun Twitter thing with ZDNet's Matt Baxter Reynolds and Brit on Twitter.
That guy.
Yeah, he likes to also. He's one of those Microsoft can cure cancer, and he'll say, "Well, cancer wasn't that bad anyway." Kind of guys. So he said, see, Microsoft's failure, the 349. No one would ever. Where's his tweet? No one would ever drop the price on a successful product. So I just kindly responded. I know Shmuley, who's been on the podcast before, jumped in as well.
We had Shmuley filling in when I didn't have any direction.
And I said, actually, what about? I guess the iPhone wasn't successful. And he said the iPhone was never dropped in price, and I nicely pointed out, and with no response, of course, once we got to that point.
The first phone wasn't it?
$599 on contract. Came out in June. By September, it was down to $299. There's a big hubbub. They had to give people Apple credit back and all this stuff.
Apple credit. Don't forget that.
Right. Apple
Cash
Store
did not. They didn't write checks.
Apple Store credit, but there's nothing wrong with it. That's fine. They found their sweet spot. And this big, and then I went back to look, the big successful iPhone launch. How many iPhones do you think they sold at launch? First weekend. First one.
I don't know, 500,000.
Okay, the tech media said 500,000 to 1 million. That was their projection.
Okay.
AT&T said it was 144,000.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't really until the iPhone 3GS where the iPhone became the thing.
Okay. I got that. Where are you taking me here?
So, sir, for all these people, including our friend Matt
from ZDNet. Okay.
Yeah. Not every first device sells 10 million. In fact, I don't know any that do. The first iPad didn't really sell. It sold. Don't get me wrong, it sold. The iPad 2 is the one that became the booming success. And this is from Apple, the king of all consumer devices. Android, the G1, whatever the hell that thing was called, I think 6 people owned, and for good reason. It wasn't until later on where it became a success story. The numbers on the RT and the Pro are not bad considering it's a first generation device. It's better than both those products. So I hope Microsoft realizes this and is sitting there laughing like I am right now inside, and
Yeah,
says,
no,
we're
I
okay with
mean
the
they're not going to
price.
give up on it. I mean,
Well,
you're
there's plenty of
thinking.
stories they are. I doubt it. I mean, I don't buy it.
I mean, they've already got a Haswell version ready.
Well, that's the Pro.
I,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah, I
That's
can't.
that could be the perfect machine, a 12-hour battery tablet slash i5, whatever it's going to be.
But
Uh,
still, the form factor is still. It, I guess I bring up question of form factor now, after
okay,
getting this W3 in my hands.
okay. Now, but what about? I compare the Pro. To me, the Pro is the MacBook Air with a little more functionality. Small screen, especially the 11-inch Air, which sells like hotcakes. The 999 Air, it's
Mm-hmm.
11 inches, sells like crazy.
Does.
Comparable price to the Surface Pro. I think to me, those two are in the same, similar processor. We're gonna have the same all that other junk. It's gonna be pretty much equal, except for, is there something falling from your ceiling?
No, I was just checking my lights.
Oh, okay. Want to make sure
Just
there's
making sure I had them at the right
some,
level. Sorry.
some bear that's been hibernating is falling through the ceiling. the I think that's where that goes, and to me, it's more of the Ultrabook, the small end Ultrabook. Because there are the bigger ones. I'm on one right now, an Asus 14-inch thing. I'm talking to you on
Yeah.
Ultrabook. But for the small factor, always out of the office, Ultrabook, need the power but need the size. Surface Pro is that Ultrabook. Now you have an 8-inch. I think it's 8.1, right? The Iconia.
Yes, it is, Darren.
You mistakenly bought it on eBay last week, and I'm
I
glad to see.
did.
I'm glad to see the accountants haven't cut off your studio for buying it.
I don't let her up here much.
Saw the review.
Did you see that? Yes.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
Where'd that come
I
from?
told you about this.
It's a
You didn't
loaner
know. Yes, I
forever.
did.
What would Gazelle give you? No,
Oh my
now
God, probably $4.
$4. Yeah. Don't look at your 928. It's a scary number. The so this device came out. It was given out to everyone at Build, the conference a few weeks ago. A lot of people did not like it, to say the least. People didn't like the screen. So Mr. Surface Geek Dave guy has one, and what do you think?
Of course, I have to go out and buy it. But I have to, and I'm going to show you here on cam, but a lot of things were going through my brain prior to getting it, is why I wanted to get my hands on it, and to get my hands on it away from a store environment. I specifically went to the Microsoft Store opening to see if they had this thing at the store, and they did not.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. So they did not. So that might have saved me from buying it. But from what I hear, they do have it now in the store, in the Microsoft Store. So I'm thinking about going tomorrow and just verifying that. I don't know why I would want to verify that, because, I mean, nobody's going to go in there and buy it. But I may be wrong in that statement too. Anybody can call me out on that, and I would love if someone would, because I think I'm the only person who gave it somewhat of a favorable review. And so my questions were about the form factor. Okay, I'm holding this 8-inch Windows tablet with a 486 x86 processor in one hand. I can hold it in one hand. Now, dock that and grab my RT with this beautiful screen, and I love this device, Darren, but I don't want to mislabel it any, but call it like lumbering. It's larger. It's it's not to me, it's not that couch tablet. It's not a great consumption device on a couch, and that's what I typically do, is taking a device around the house with me. And right now it's the 928 and the iPad Mini, and I would love if this would replace the iPad Mini, which I think it can. So once I got the W3, it was, it's a different experience. Let me unlock here, because I can hold this thing in one hand. Sorry, I can't get this on camera. So I wasn't able just to say, do not buy this hunk of junk, because the screen is a little grainy. But the screen is grainy. It is grainy, but I even think the screen actually improved with 8.1. Now let me go to a gear cam here. Now the problem I have with my studio is I can't hardly do a gear cam with audio, but you can see the keyboard here, the Bluetooth keyboard, and it has this little rubber holder thing, and you just drop it in there like that. So I started the review just working like this. Now you can't see, you really can't experience the grain problems on this video that I'm sending you. I saw reviews that said it's cheap, it feels cheap, it's plastic. I was a little, I guess I don't think people opened their minds enough when they saw the screen. They see, wow, that's a bad screen. This device is a piece of crap. I'm just going to fly through it. It's a piece of crap. And that's easy to do. That's an easy review. I could have written that review 10, 15 times. No one would have thought any ill of me for saying this is a piece of crap. Probably no one would have read it either, because those reviews are everywhere. But the screen is grainy. I took a picture of my, oh my God, I don't even remember the cell phone, what I had, the HTC 6800
Yeah, the
Edge.
Win Mobile.
Yeah, with Win Mobile. It reminded me of that screen. It's just an old resistive touch screen with a piece of plastic laid over it, and that's what it looks like. It's grainy.
You have to wonder, and it has, you put in there, it has decent resolution, decent DPI numbers. What the hell did they put on that? Like, it has to be the LCD, right? It's an LCD, right? I think it has to be the screen itself.
Yeah.
It just makes you, and that's the Acer. It makes you wonder. You see all these other devices, and we've talked about in the last couple of weeks. From you could say obviously the iPad Mini, some of the Google Android tablets. There's a lot of crap out there too in that world, but they're a decent. The Nexus 7 has a decent screen at $199. The Kindle Fire has a HD, has a great screen for $199. What's the point of releasing a tablet like this and not having a decent screen? And also putting an Atom processor, it's ESX86, but it's not powerful enough to run much. Again, it's just like they're neutering RT. I don't get it. What are you using? What do you put on there that would make it?
Well, they definitely neutered RT. As I sit here opening Word, and you got to also remember this is an Atom processor. It's not going to get anything done quickly.
But my ARM processor, my RT opens Word in half a second.
No, yeah.
I mean,
remember, this is a desktop program, loading on an Atom PC.
Right.
And I said that in the review. I said, you remember that netbook that you lugged around and wouldn't show anybody? Yeah, it's the same thing. This is a netbook. It's just it just the screen part of the netbook. But tell me you can't. I mean, even on the video, you can see this.
Yeah, is there a way that I
It
could
looks.
switch over which video I'm seeing? I see the third camera there.
Oh yeah, see, I'm showing
If I click on it, will it go to
the
the top?
chat room.
That's it.
And
Yeah, we
I can
go.
show you this way,
Oh, I got
but
it. I could see the. I could see the.
see, this doesn't show it near as well as what my gear camera shows it. So
Right.
you're listening on audio, you can check it out on the
Okay.
video. But yeah, it's grainy. It's not great, but it's the screen is okay. I would just say it's okay, and that's what my review says. I opened the review saying this is how I got it on eBay. I was very upfront about it. I did not pay, and I would not pay full price at Amazon or the Microsoft store because I didn't think it was worth it after the reviews. It's not worth the risk. Guys in our own forums said, "Man, don't buy this." I took mine back. But I ended up getting it for what did I say, $335.
Yeah. Is it worth that?
Um, I I have trouble saying it's worth that right now.
Now we should also say at this point,
But
there's
I'm
stores.
biased because I have other knowledge
Right. Right.
of the screen situation, which I'll bring up to you. But
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah. So, well, just to address that, Acer, I think it was yesterday, right in the middle of my review. My review is actually done. It's done. I'm just formatting pictures and stuff. And boom, I see this news that Acer says, okay, that screen's crappy. We'll retool and put out a different W3 later. And that was about it. Nothing like, hey, we'll replace that. Like Apple will give you App Store credit or something. They just said they'll come out with a different screen, and I think this is what they had. I think they knew this would happen, but they sold some units
What's the use case?
at the expense of RT and at the expense of Windows 8 and at the expense of Microsoft.
What?
They
That's what.
sold a couple thousand units,
What at the partner conference? I think it was Kevin Turner who said that. He pretty much said Windows 8. We had our own issues, but the hardware that came with it was just not there, and now we're getting there. And then they go and give this thing out the week before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not understand that. And they're giving it out as the reviews are out already. And it's like, wow.
Right. Now, like you said, maybe just the only 8-inch one out there, so start thinking about the screen before we come out with the 8-inch Surface maybe, or the 8-inch
This is a
Nokia.
developer's machine. They should use it to develop apps, to make apps that will work in this 8-inch form factor, because I think this is a fantastic form factor. This is going to an 8-inch RT is
RT.
RT. Okay, I said it. Yes, yes. An
Right.
8-inch RT is going to be fantastic. An RT that I can hold, and I can stick this in my pocket, Darren. I don't know if you've ever stuck an iPad Mini in your pocket, a big like khaki pants or something. This will fit in your pocket.
Now, but who's this for? That's what I understand. Who's the 8-inch x86 full Windows with desktop machine for?
Right now, this is for Acer.
No, I know.
I don't know if this has a customer.
Forget even that. Forget that actual. Let's say it had a great screen. Let's say this machine in front of you has a good screen, decent power. Let's put an i3 in there. 8-inch form factor.
I put it in the review.
Okay.
I'm a holder honor. I'm the kind of guy that does not go to new things in my desktop and my Windows as quickly as some of you other guys. Granted, if you put two of them in front of you, this one's the RT. and
Hmm.
this one's the Windows 8. It gets a couple hours less battery, but you can load up your old applications on it. People are going to pick that
Wow.
because that's the familiarity that they can load whatever app they need to load, like their hospital app or whatever. They
Okay,
can
so
load it on there.
so maybe
It's
that's a
hanging on to the old.
maybe
That's the
that's the use
person.
case for it. Maybe
What's that?
maybe that's the use case for it. Professional applications, running on some old database.
It's the folks that can't move into the new and that need to hang on to the old. Um, Now 8 inches makes that very difficult.
Right, right.
It
That's my
does. It
point.
makes it very difficult. It can be done. I wrote the entire article with Windows Live Writer, which is an x86 app. It's pretty much just Word. Tapping, little bold, little whatever, and doing my thing. There were points where I could say, man, if I had a mouse, I would be really set looking at my little 8-inch screen. But I never
Gotta
hooked
get
up
a
a
little Bluetooth
mouse.
mouse.
When I moved to the keyboard, the virtual keyboard, sitting on the couch finishing the review, it was more difficult because the keyboard slides up, removes about 50% of the screen, so you can see maybe 3 lines
Oh
of
my God.
text of your article. When you have, a 300-line article, you can see 3 of those plus the one you're typing on, that is kind of crazy. But again, if
It's a
I
wonder.
needed
It's a
to,
wonder Windows 8 is where it's going
in
so
my
well.
little netbook here, my little portable netbook with I could load Audacity, crunch some audio. I could do anything I needed to do.
How about this? How about you load Audacity on there? You take 2 eggs, put it on the back, and see how long it takes to cook.
Yep. I've done it before. I've published a podcast with a netbook from CES. It was the year that netbooks were in favor, and I had
Did you?
just lugged around like this 13-pound laptop for 5 days across Las Vegas, and I said I wouldn't do it again. The year
There,
after that, I took a MacBook Air.
there were some decent netbooks. Decent, not
No,
great. Yes. I still have an HP sitting around here that gets the job done.
those were nice
Two,
netbooks. Those were very
two,
nice
two
netbooks.
gigs of RAM. I mean, yeah.
You need to read the review and read everything on there because I took a lot of offense to some of the big magazines that just did nothing but slam every aspect of this device when I thought it was unwarranted. That it does have merits, it does perform a function, it just may be a device that doesn't have
A user.
a problem. Yes, that's the same
Right.
comparison. It may be an answer without a question.
Right.
And so somebody was saying, "Oh, it's cheap. It's plastic. That's just so cheap because it's plastic." It's like, yeah, it's plastic. You need to get over it. Let me get this thing back on screen. Um, you know, the plastic. Whoa, that's not gonna work. Let's do this. Um, the plastic. Well, you can see like way too many. Let me wipe this thing off.
Well, the funny thing about the plastic thing is, though, everyone's like, "This is the polycarbonate." What is polycarbonate?
What? Okay, my stupid Windows Phone is plastic.
Right, it's plastic.
Don't
It's a
don't
nicer
tell me it's
plastic.
cheap. I
It's a
got so
poly.
pissed off at that.
The
And
Samsung was the Galaxy S4, $650.
you know what? The lines on this
Plastic.
device are really nice. Nothing extrudes, nothing pokes you. I didn't understand it whatsoever. The lines are very nice. It fits well. It was manufactured just fine. There's nothing wrong with this manufacturing process.
Except for the screen.
Well, they put in a bad screen. I mean,
Right. Well, that's
they put
part.
in a cheap ass screen. That's all there is to it. Um, what was the other thing? It's a chubby old girl. Let me tell you, it is a little heavy. it is thicker than an iPad mini. It is heavier than an iPad mini. And I took offense to that because I'm like, this is not an iPad mini. This is back to the day where they compared RT to the iPad. And that made me mad then, and it still makes me mad. I said, okay, you can compare the screen because I think the screen needs to at least look like the mini. It needs to look good like the
Mhm.
mini. But everything else you can't compare the apps. You
Well,
know,
look,
you can't.
right. The best part, is even when they compared the original Surface RT to the iPad, it was like uh, all the all the reviews. That was what they that was the thing against it. And then they but you can't run your Windows apps. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, and I can run Final Cut Pro on my iPad. Like,
Do you see these stickers here? One, two. There's one here. This would be the easiest one to get off. Is the
Windows 3.1 inside.
FCC thing. Now this is Windows 8
Hmm.
and Intel inside. They're pretty much mandated if they're going to sell a PC, they have to do this.
Right.
The reason Apple doesn't is they don't need to put Apple inside, Intel inside. They're they're not going to do it. And there's for whatever reason there's a barcode here. One of the reviews said, "Oh, the stickers. Oh, the stickers are just so hideous."
Oh
Um,
man, oh, God.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
they're
just okay. It was just piling on, and I said in my review, if you don't know how to take off a sticker at this
right.
point in your life, then you shouldn't be buying a freaking Windows laptop. Go buy a MacBook Air. I'm tired of
Right.
hearing you whine.
There are actually options on the Windows side, so you don't know if it's Intel inside or AMD inside or Cirrus. What Cirrus was the old IBM one processor
Yeah,
inside?
good
Yeah.
stuff. It has the micro SD card. This is the volume rockers. It does have a front and rear 2 megapixel camera on each. They both pretty much suck, but which was to be expected. You know what? The Apple guys have had several years to refine this thing. So the cameras on the first generation phones and iPads were, well, the first generation iPad didn't have a camera, and the
Right.
second one was a horrible camera. So don't talk to me about horrible cameras because first generations are going to have that. This actually has an HDMI out and it has a USB port. Now,
Have you played with the HDMI out?
I did.
Okay.
I stuck it into my Windows PC real quick,
Oh.
and it still gave me that stupid. We can't launch that app because of the resolution, so it gave me some crap like that. No, the real problem I found, is they left out a $3 device that they should have put in here.
You
I could really gig somebody on this, but nobody brought it up. Nobody brought it up. I'm going to
three
show it to you.
$3 device.
A $3 device. Micro USB to USB. Let's say you buy this thing, and how are you going to back up and make a recovery disk to load on 8.1? You want to make a recovery disk, don't you, just in case it goes wrong?
Okay.
Yes, you do.
It has no
The
regular USB
USB
ports?
port, what?
It has no USB port on it?
It does. It's right here.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
But how are you going to put in your USB key into this thing?
It's hard for me to see because of the
Oh,
it's blocked, is
oh,
that what you're saying? Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh, okay.
I'm showing you. There's the
Yeah.
USB, and then
Key.
here's your savior. It's a $3 little gizmo, and I'm going to put it in for the folks at home.
And while you're doing
Uh,
that, Mac also wants to know what you thought of the keyboard.
okay. I can't see. There, had it backwards.
Too much chlorine.
Um, too much chlorine. So this is the only way to get it USB stick to back up, make a recovery disk. The recovery will not recognize the micro SD card as a target. Maybe that's a Windows thing that they need to
Yeah, I don't think you can boot
fix.
from that.
They need to uh, work something out there. I mean, just include this little device here. It looks ugly, but it's not like you're walking around the airport with this thing. So The keyboard I thought was fine. There's nothing wrong with the keyboard. Full size, nice big Windows key, and Bluetooth was very simple, as to be expected. And you've got the little hamburger key over here, and everything works. Everything works. It was just fine. The weird thing about this is it has, oops, hit the camera. Little stabilizing feet that pop out. Oh, sorry, I'm hitting the keys and it woke it up. And the keyboard also doubles. Let me turn this off. I guess I'm going to have to turn this thing off. So I keep waking up the device. So it also, if you look, there's a notch at the top of this thing. This little notch fits at the bottom like so. So if you want to throw this into your bag, it goes on the back of your keyboard.
Interesting.
Throw this in your bag, so shake it. Works out pretty good. Keyboard has a power switch right here and a connect, and it has a little Bluetooth light, and it lets you know when it's connecting. And it has the little lever here. You just pull the little lever and pull the W3 out.
So,
okay.
Last question on that.
Okay, give me a question.
Now that your review is done, will you ever use this device again, and for what?
I'm going to continue to use it for the 8.1.
Okay.
I like the modern UI on this thing as a consumption device. Once again, go sit on the couch with the Surface RT. It's bulky to me. It is bulky. I sit with this thing, I can hold it in one hand, and I like it. I like it that way.
If you say so.
I can, picture yourself sitting on a couch, and you can prop your knees against the ottoman, and you've got this little guy right in front of you, and you're just consuming, I would say Flipboard, but we don't have Flipboard yet. Any websites, any news sites.
Next gen
reader. You're looking through your RSS. And you folks, if you're listening, you might not get that if you've never used an 8-inch device before. If you've used an 8-inch device, I think it's a love or hate. You're 8 or 10 or laptop only. But I personally love the 8-inch form factor. I think it's going that way. Whether you guys like it or not, it's going to have to go that way.
I love the 8-inch. I just think putting full Windows is a mistake, and it's going to lead to negative reviews. And in the end,
this is going to make a great RT device.
Agreed.
If you can slim this baby down and get it nice, long battery life, it's going to be very nice.
One of these in an 8-inch might be perfect. Made by Microsoft, maybe? Yeah, it's my RT.
Yeah, I think the RT, it's that the longness of it, which makes it genuine and makes this whole clicking in thing work. I love the RT. Don't get me wrong. I like all of these little guys. But I ended up this way. I ended up saying, yes, the new information is out. Acer says they're going to release a new one. Now, not that this is going to change the market, because there are a lot of these out there on eBay, and I should have looked before the show to see what they were going for. Prior, I said that this is a sub 400. You need to get the 64 gig and the keyboard for less than 400. I would say nothing over 350. Don't pay over 350 to get this. Now that you have this new information, I'm thinking pushing it down to 250 tablet only, 280 with a keyboard. If you could get this little tablet for $250, you would have a very nice companion device for the living room. You could run Seaton for Media Center. You could run any type of remotes you needed. You would have something at your beck and call whenever you needed it right there. And for $250, you could just leave it there. And you wouldn't have to jump up for your phone. You wouldn't have to jump up for your RT. Because if you're going to get an RT in this factor on down the road, it's going to go everywhere with you.
Right.
It might even replace this guy. But
Right.
I'm just saying, for the now, I can't change the fact that there are thousands of these on the market, on the used market, quote unquote, on eBay. There are tons out there. And if you can get one for those ballpark prices that I put out there, I think it would be worth it. If not, I think you might be overpaying. As the news comes out today that Acer's going to retool this screen and put in a brand new screen, if they keep it at that same price, I overpaid at $335 for this one.
What is the price right now? What's the retail price?
The first 32 gig starts at $349.
That's what I thought, with no keyboard.
Something like that, and maybe then the next one goes to like $429.
Right, no keyboards though, right?
For the 64. So it's about $500 retail for the
Right.
64 and a keyboard. Now don't forget, you also get, I want to show you my license here, but it is Windows 8 small screen touch with Office, Home, and Student 2013.
Right, that is
It comes
big.
with it.
Right.
So there's $100 right here.
No, it's more than $100. $100 only for the first year. It's $213, I think, right now. $213 for the lifetime little
Okay.
thing, doohickey.
That's Office. Boom. I got Office on this
Right.
thing.
'Cause that's a lifetime. That's not a subscription.
So that is pretty darn cool. So yes, the screen, it sucks. It's rough. The more you look at it, the more it becomes just that little stepchild of a tablet.
Mhm.
If you can find a place for it,
Right.
I think that it would be, you can and get one for a good deal, go for it. Go
And
for it.
and also for those listening that are looking at this device based on, it runs x86 apps and the price more than anything else with a touchscreen. In the Microsoft store right now, there's an Asus little laptop, 11-inch, that came out at launch actually. At launch it was $499, touchscreen, i3, 500 gigabyte hard drive. I
What's
think
the
it's
model name?
if you go to the store, it's right on the front page. It's now down to $399.
Microsoftstore.com.
And I remember I played with this last October in the middle of Times Square. I played with this laptop when they were saying for $500, look what you can get, and I said, wow.
Oh, you can't see my screen.
No, it's now $399. And nice part of buying through the Microsoft Store is, this is the best part. If you're looking for laptops, Microsoft Store sells laptops
Oh, there it is.
all crapware free. You order straight from Lenovo or Dell or all
500
that.
gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the little Asuses that are.
I'm on its
on
big brother
Amazon.
right now.
Okay, let's remember this, because this is going to go into my rant here.
Okay.
You guys at home, you're watching on the screen. Yeah, it does look like a Wii U screen, exactly, Matt Kessel. So Amazon, I'm going to paste that Asus. Oh, crap. Paste. Oh, I didn't.
I'm on right now. I'm on the 14-inch version with an SD, with a SSD, so it's a little more. But that was the 11. Just look up Asus 11-inch touch.
X202E. Okay. Go to
Amazon.
X202E. Asus X202E. It was $399.
Yep.
They got it beat. That's good. It's $448 here. So
right.
That's a good deal.
Right. No, that's a good deal. And like I said, it comes if you order straight. It's the funniest thing. If you order it from Amazon or Asus or any of the other third party, it comes with about 900 pieces of bloatware on it. The Microsoft Store, you get Windows. That's it. So in that way, it's better too. You don't have to spend 6 hours taking off all the stuff it comes with.
11.6. It's not bad. It's $400.
It's a great machine.
And it's a touch.
And it's touch. It's not an SSD, but you can always if you read the Amazon reviews, a lot of people throw in an SSD in there. Of course, that all of a sudden kills the price a little bit, but if you like the form factor, it's little. And I don't know if you saw the commercial with our favorite Ben the PC guy, where he compares buying the new S4 for $700, what you can get at the Microsoft Store. He bought one of those for $400. He bought the Nokia 520 for $129, whatever it was. And then some Windows Store money for the same $700. It's pretty cool. Especially if you have kids, they need a laptop. You don't want to buy them a crap one that doesn't have touch and all this with Windows 8 on it, because Windows 8 should always have touch. And if you can make a touch device for $399, there's no excuse not to have touch.
Well, I don't want the review to sound like I'm pandering to this thing. And if I'm sure Tom Warren and Paul Thurrott and all these guys have either saw it, maybe clicked on it out of curiosity, and we're just like, oh, freaking amateurs, whatever. It has someone out there needs an x86 in a small form factor, or needs an x86 app in a small form factor in a small area.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a market. I think it's got a great used market for someone. I don't know who, but it does for someone. Now we just have to figure out what in the heck am I going to do with this thing.
Frisbee.
Maybe I should just. Oh, I can't give this away, can I?
Nah, you'll use it. Listen, you can hook it up. You do some stuff on there. Type in a blog on there. You have the keyboard on there. You run out of the house, grab it, run for a coffee or somewhere.
I enjoy it as a portable device. I can just grab, sit on the couch. Because my RT stays on the desk with me. It's like my little email.
See, machine. I use the RT without the keyboard a lot. Like it's my touch little.
Yeah, you go sit with it, or
yeah.
Throw watch sports on. With it, do things like that.
I like to, but none of the apps are out. Like watch ESPN, I have to steal the iPad so I can watch whatever game's on, and Mrs. can watch.
A problem in itself.
So,
all right.
But now Watch ESPN does work in the browser on the RTs.
Okay. On to my rant. I gave you a little sneak peek here on this website. When I was at the opening for the Microsoft Store, I thought if there's good deals, I'm going to pick up a couple of cameras because I need them for the podcast to do some better things here. I need some of these LifeCam Studio 1080p cameras, which you're looking at is the Microsoft LifeCam Studio. It's a little bullet camera, $99.95 on the Microsoft Store. So that's the exact same price that it was in the brick and mortar store. And I'm standing there, and I got a Bing It On $25 coupon. And I thought, oh, great, $25 off this camera. It's going to bring it down to $75. I am in cha-ching. Well, let me just check Amazon real quick. Use my Lumia 928 with the Amazon app. I look it up, and what do I find? Look on your screen. Microsoft LifeCam Studio 1080p HD webcam for $49.99.
Is it who's selling? Is it Amazon or is it one of the other?
Ships and sold from Amazon.com.
Okay.
Now that is the retail version. You click the business version, it goes down to $47.25. So I didn't buy it obviously at the store. I was a little hacked off that things were at the retail price, but so that's my rant. It's not a big rant. But that's it.
I think that's one of the big issues of brick and mortars, as it's just
come on. And now I have a 10% coupon, Darren. If they had that laptop in the store,
they do
for the same price, I could go get 10% off of it.
They do have it in store.
It's
everywhere in the store, actually.
That would be nice. About $350.
$350. It's a
touchscreen laptop.
Maybe they'll give you both coupons, 25 and 10%.
That one is expired.
Oh, okay.
That one, the Bing It On expired, and it does say that you can't use two at a time. So whatever, we're done. Okay, so we need to keep moving on here.
Where are we at now? Oh, well,
I
there was
guess
some.
just move to
This,
apps, or what do you got? Last piece of news?
yeah, just really quick. There was a few some updates released today for Windows 8.1. Um, Pretty much, I mean, it's some stuff is scrolling. The apps, if you go right to the All Apps view, it scrolls better. They updated the search experience, fixed the search experience within SkyDrive from the search built-in search, so it's a little better. And
See,
apparently that's about it. I think
I like
there's
it,
also a
Darren.
VPN issue.
I still like it.
8.1.
I still like this form factor.
Okay.
Scroll
Well,
up. Look at that. All your apps.
well, I hope they all keep making them just for you.
With an IPS display, and if
Oh,
they
well
can get
now,
this a little thinner,
okay, with a higher resolution, get more on your screen. I mean, these are big ifs. You need a little more probably than your
I don't
atoms of
need
power for that.
snapping. You can't snap in 8 inches.
50-50 probably could.
Well,
In the 8.1, the
I don't
50-50.
I don't need snapping in 8 inches.
Where's your
If you
Twitter?
do, if you do, you know what? You get notifications. That's what notifications are for.
I agree.
Boop, you got
And
a new
that's one
notification.
of the big things why apps are important, by the way. I know a lot of people say, who cares about apps in Windows 8 or Windows RT? Just use the browser. I don't care about the apps so much as the notifications. And I know the technology is coming where we'll be able to have notifications from the web, but until then, we need the apps. Uh,
There you go.
speaking
I
of
can't get this touch point.
speaking of RT, when RT first launched, there was a couple of Twitter apps. My favorite, um, it was very buggy, but it was still the one I used, except for when I had to use an app and not the web, was MetroTwit.
I use
Um,
that right here. I've got MetroTwit up.
right. Okay. Is it the RT version or the desktop
No,
version?
I'm on Windows 7.
Oh, okay. That's what I use on that as well. But this is the Metro modern version. They had
Okay.
it was very buggy. So the developers who very active
Yes, it
on
was.
Twitter,
I dumped it quick.
much better. Still a couple little bugs, but much. Just if you haven't used it, if you use the Twitter app, try the try MetroTwit. Good developers.
Here's the Amazon Cloud Player.
What in the world is that? MetroTwit is out for RT.
Oh, I can't do audio and video at the same time.
Oh, that's a shame. So if you're looking for a good Twitter client, I think it actually has list support, unlike the official Twitter app. And if you want to have a little rant, Twitter is pushing everyone towards lists, and the Twitter app in Windows RT does not support lists. Okay,
Why
rant
are they
over.
pushing us towards lists?
Because I don't know, you could share lists, and when you follow 10,000 people, you need
How can they
lists.
make money off of it? That's what you need to ask yourself.
Well, of course, because it'll be what's the a lot of people are going to have a sports list and a tech list or a Windows list, and they'll advertise to that. But
Exactly.
anyway, they left that whole feature out of the Windows 8 app anyway. And in Windows 8.1, it doesn't scroll right. So hopefully this slow scrolling update we just had fixes that. Um, some stuff on the Windows Phone, some apps this week. 6 Second or 6 Sec SEC.
The Vine app. Did you
The
see how
Vine app.
the author was really bent out of shape
Yeah.
on Twitter?
Yes.
He had just submitted it to the store, and they announced that Vine's coming for Windows 8 or
Right.
Windows Phone. Wow,
Um,
he was just like, "Oh,
by the
I'm
way,
first."
it's an awesome app. I've used Vine on the Android side.
I'm on
It,
Vine. I don't know.
I don't know if 6 second videos are important or not, but I will say the app itself is better than the real Vine app.
They can be fun.
So good for them. You know, listen, this is like when Android was early on, and the people had to start making apps because they weren't out there yet. It's part of an ecosystem catching up. It's important for developers. It does stink because this guy just spent how much time, and I'm sure it's time for some money, making this app, and it's probably going to be pulled. And if not pulled, just the real app will come out soon. But listen, we still have some third-party Twitter apps people use, so maybe we'll have some third-party Vine apps people use, and this is a great app. So Vine, it's called Six, the number six, Sec, S-E-C. Check it out. Also, Tapatalk, which is the board forums software that's popular on some places like surfacegeeks.net.
Home
Uh,
server show. I think Windows Phone Central
WP
uses it
Central,
as well.
all the talk, the mobile, all those.
Yeah,
Everybody
so
knows.
yeah, that's something that the guys over at Home Server Show talked me into loading, and it's
Mhm.
something that I have to put on my board,
Right,
some software and some plugins and some security and stuff. And so I do that, and then you can use your Tapatalk app
right.
to interface with the board. Now, I bought it for iOS,
hmm
and I didn't use it much
You can use Board
because
Express, has been around on Windows Phone. That's been the third-party version that's been
okay.
working, but now there's an official. So if you're a big board user and you hang, it's
Yeah, and I think it's always been an expensive app,
hmm
relative of, it's not 99 cents, it's like 3.99 or 4.99 or something
right.
like that. Um, so I can't tell you that I've used it honestly on Windows Phone. 2.99. I'm sorry, Tap
Yeah.
Talk guys, 2.99.
Uh,
Because I have like admin stuff that I do, so I need
right,
to see different levels of screens, and
right.
so, but I'm gonna buy this.
And listen, it's another one of those apps that, especially for some hardcore users, use a lot. And it's an official app, so good to see more official apps coming. Microsoft launched on the iOS side, iPhone and iPad, and it's called OWA, Outlook Web Access app. Um, it's if you're an Office 365 customer on the business side and you're obviously using Exchange. It does, Exchange does work with Windows, but if maybe you don't, maybe it's your personal iPad, you don't want your contacts getting mixed in and your mail getting mixed in with your Gmail account or your Outlook account or your mobile me account, whatever it's called these days, me.com. You now have an app with notifications and everything. It pretty much looks like your Outlook Web Access on if you're logged in from a web, but it's pretty cool. It's another. Listen, some people are upset. It's why this isn't available on the RT yet. Well, you don't need it. Let me just say that right. Or it's not available on Windows Phone. Outlook's pretty much built into Windows Phone. But for those same people that don't want it mixed in, it would be nice if it came. So you can keep it kind of in its own little ecosystem off your iPad. Uh, but it's cool as notifications. And one thing it bothers me, not that Microsoft's releasing these. I wonder what you think of this. We're seeing this, especially on the iOS side, and it's going to come to the RT side. Everyone has their own mail app. If you have Gmail, you have a Gmail app. If you have Microsoft Now, you can have the Outlook.com app, or you can have the OWA app. Yahoo Mail has an app, and I know Yahoo Mail is an RT app. One thing I like on my devices, especially my mobile devices, is I like having my contact lists kind of universal, merged. And now we're creating these siloed apps where everything kind of sits within them. I wonder what your thoughts. Like, do you think Gmail, like if you're a Gmail user, the Gmail app on iOS is much better for using Gmail than the Mail app. But again, you could still sync your contacts, but it takes a little more work. I see us becoming like we're siloing off all these different systems instead of the typical mail app that's built into the system. You sync your accounts to that app, and off you go, and they all go to one place. We're getting more into these silos, so it's just interesting. But it is available for the iPhone and iPad, and it seems to be a lot of people are happy about it. But one big thing is it is only if your company or your organization uses Office 365. It will not connect to an on-premise, on-site Exchange server. Uh,
What?
if you have one of those, you still got to go through the web. Maybe that'll be an added feature later. I'll let you put in settings if your company allows it, which most probably won't. um, which we can have another rant on another day, how people spend all this money securing their email and then press send and off it goes out of security. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's the IT side of me getting That's an IT rant.
No, it's a great. I mean, it's a great. Yeah, email. I'm still in a little email conundrum. I am still not happy. I think Outlook.com aggregates things, but it it leaves behind messages on my servers, so I
Mm-hmm.
have to go and clean up, and it's not as fast.
Right.
I can send, I could do like a send from a Yahoo account to a Gmail account and just watch the two screens and blink, blink, done. Send, it goes to the outbox, and it shows up.
Right.
Outlook.com, I'm waiting forever.
Hmm.
I hate that. It bugs me. You know,
Weird.
I'm talking with someone on the phone, and they're like, all right, I just sent it to you. I'm like, hitting refresh and refresh.
Now, are you sending that to Gmail and forwarding it, or are you pulling it?
No, Gmail I've left out. No,
Okay.
I'm pulling off Surface Geeks, Home Server Show.
Where's Surface Geeks?
Um,
Where's the server that's going to?
It's my server,
So you have the mail server in your house or your office?
not in my house that I lease
Okay. Okay.
with all my domains. It's my web services.
Okay.
And then, but I can use a mail client and pop it off,
Mhm.
or IMAP is what I use. I can
Right.
IMAP it instantly. It just shows up. The push is there. Ding, it's there.
Right. So, but it's going to another. I mean, it still has another step before it gets to Outlook.com. I'm guessing that's the
Yeah,
reason the
but I can
delay.
sit there and hit the arrow to refresh it. No, go get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Come on, get it. Go get it.
Right,
Go
but
get it.
without EAS or something else, it's not gonna.
Yeah. So it's still frustrating.
Office 365 might be less than you're paying.
It might be. Might be. Then it's got to work on the phone.
$6 a month works great on your phone.
All right.
$6 a month per user for an exchange. Anyway, you can add as many domains you want to it.
I may do that. May
It's
just
actually
do that.
it actually works pretty well. And like I said, email, people are spending so much money with, and you have it offsite anyway, protecting their on-site email. And I just laugh. I'm like, where do you think that email is going when it leaves the office? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You think Verizon at their little data center give a crap? There's another story in here about companion web, and it's a pretty big story. I'm going to save till next week because I think that could be a pretty cool topic.
Okay.
I don't even know if you've read up on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to save that to next week because that I think is something. It's going to be a lot of. They need end users, and they do a lot, but I think it's a pretty big topic we're not going to start getting into now, and I think it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So I think that could be a good subject for the show next week. Head over to the forums, the blogs. You can see Dave's written Iconia W3 review and let him know.
Written word.
Let him know what you think of it. And pretty cool this week in our forums. Had someone come in and say listen to the show from Australia. And I don't know why, even though we know the internet's everywhere. Stuff like that's pretty cool. Like I know, like when I go to my own website and I see where people are reading from, I think it's pretty cool. Or I was talking to a guy in New Zealand on Twitter, how small the world's coming. So
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, watching from all over the world, wherever you're connected, and even Australia, where I know you have, where bandwidth is expensive and they don't have very much unlimited. So thanks for using some. And
No, that's just a big thanks to everybody that participates out there in the forums. It's a great, fun place. It's really growing, and that's what it takes is for you guys to get out there and participate. I think it's a little friendlier of a place than some of the bigger forums, and all we need is you to get in there. So thanks a whole bunch. The meetup before we get out of here, the meetup is up to 51 reservations out of 90,
and only 2 months away.
and that doesn't count me. So 52, I need to get out there. And the reason I'm not counting numbers, is I have a ceiling of 90 for the fire marshal. I can't put any more people in there, and I don't want to be arrested or get anybody in trouble. But that's what the building will hold. So get out there if you want to come. RSVP, please do so. If you have questions, let me know. It may be beneficial as well to check over in our homeservershow.com forums. There's a thread that's supposed to start about when you arrive, and we're trying to aggregate. If you're arriving with some other guys, there's going to be people driving from the airport to the hotel facility, where there are several hotels around there. So we may be able to hook up some rides and help you guys out. So definitely let's participate and let us know. Podcast at surfacegeeks.net. If you have any questions, I'm still looking for breakfast and lunch sponsorship. I've got to feed 50 people, so I can't do that out of my own pocket. If I have to, it's going to be crackers and cokes, and so hopefully we can get some guys to pony up and pay um, for lunch for this. If it gets up to 90 people, I have no clue what I'm going to do for lunch if I don't have a sponsor. So I
Well,
really don't want to be put in that situation. So
I think
if
Acer
you
should take care of that for
yeah
your glowing
for the
review.
glowing review, Acer, come on. So if you have any ideas for me, please let me know. Podcast at surfacegeeks.net. We can converse privately. That meetup is September 21st. It's also in the surfacegeeks.net forums. Get out there and take a look at that. We're going to be having all kinds of cool stuff on display and presentations for mobile and storage. We're going to have a lot of presentations. It's going to be cool. You're going to be able to pick your favorite stuff in the storage, mobile phones and tablets and all kinds of good stuff. And it's a time to geek out. There's going to be a lot of gear there. A lot of people that are closer to the area like to bring their stuff and their servers and show it off, and we have a good time. We're going to go to the Microsoft store. We're going to go to the Fry's store, which is just an easy walk away. And then we have a lot of giveaway items. There's like no less than like 3 NAS units that will be given away, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I really hope to see you there. And I guess that's it for number 32. It's a lot of podcasting.
A lot of podcasting. When you brought the fire marshal, I was picturing Fire Marshal Bill running into our.
He might do it. Might come in and hose us down. So.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to cue up the music. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat room, guys. It's been fun. Get out there in the forums, and we will see you here next week. Goodbye, Darren.
See ya.